Hello and welcome to Unleashed. I'm your host, Will Bachman, and I'm delighted to welcome today Andrew Persh, who is a co-founder of the tool Oria.one, and that's spelled ORIA.ONE. It's a very powerful AI-based tool to help create PowerPoint slides, which I have been testing out and I really love it. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for inviting. Appreciate it.
So we're going to publish this as an audio episode on the normal suspects, but we're also recording the video. And listeners, if you go to the show notes, we'll have a link so you can go to the Umbrex website and see the actual full video because Andrew is going to be doing a demo today and walking me through the tool. So if you want to see that video version, you can go to the Umbrex website. So Andrew, why don't you just go ahead and get started. You can share your screen and show me what this tool looks like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even before that, just probably just a few sentences about the idea behind the tool and how it was built. And probably just very quick background. So I worked at McKinsey for 6 years, and uh, like tested a bunch of different AI tools for slides, and I think there are like almost 100 of available solutions in the market. But the problem of them was that they either kind of tried to brute force the content into a set of very simple templates, which looked good for a simple presentation for something you'd use in the college or in the school, but definitely not the bar that you expect to produce in consulting. Or they tried to kind of create an HTML-based version of the page, which looked nicer and was a bit more complex, but for the client side, it was immediately visible that that is something AI generated, and this is when their attention fully switched when they realized that the tool, like the content was created by AI. So hence came the idea to build a tool that builds really complex slides that do not look and feel like AI, that look as though a human has built it. So this is probably the history behind it. Having said that, let me just show you the demo. So I hope you can see the screen now.
Yeah, and make sure you're just leaning forward enough as you were kind of leaning back a couple times. The volume dropped a little bit.
Okay, I can just give me a second. I hope it will be better now.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
good.
Great. So Oria is basically an extension for PowerPoint. That's a plugin that you can install and appears on the right-hand side, and it basically covers three consulting scenarios. The first one and the most popular one is text to slide. And the idea is that you just have like some ideas about what you want to have on the slide, or you're working with an LLM, let's say OpenAI or Claude, and then LLM gave you a description of the slide, and now it's time to turn text and data into a nice visual. So for that, you just need to drop your thoughts onto the slide, click text to slide, and in about 30 to 40 seconds, basically Oria will come up with multiple design suggestions for the slide. You don't need to wait on that slide though. You can just work simultaneously across multiple slides. So for example, on slide 3, I've already launched the script, and you can see the multiple options proposed by Oria. So what probably makes Oria different is that each option is custom built from scratch. It's not kind of brute forced into a template, and it is done fully within your look and feel. Here, I have something that looks and feels like McKinsey slides. So you can basically choose the option that you like, be it option number 2, and click apply design. And in a couple of minutes, it will be edited as a fully editable slide that you can then polish to perfection. I think I can come back to slide 2. And while we were on slide 3, another 3 options were prepared. This is quite a simple example when you just have some high level thoughts. I want to have a slide about the framework to run an AI pilot, which makes sense. However, I think the tool is really powerful when you are working on more kind of data heavy complex slides, something like this. So here I have like an output from Claude with the description of a roadmap. And if I were to put that onto the slide, it would take me probably up to 2 hours, even with my X consulting toolkit. While here with Oria, with just text to slide button, you can very quickly convert it to multiple versions and pick the one that you like and insert it. the last one, and then I'll make a pause, is in case you really like, slides that are visually complex and that do not just have like boxes, lines, and texts. The tool can also help you with that. So here, for example, I again have an output of ChatGPT being just, list of use cases, but I want to visualize them in a very compelling way. So I'm asking to put them on a 3D platform and annotate different parts of the platform. And Oria can also do that without any problems. And back at McKinsey, I was creating tens of slides like this for almost every client engagement just to make the message more compelling.
Yeah, the video is available,
Yeah.
and we'll have some screenshots as well. If you don't want to watch the video, just see some screenshots. But what I'm seeing here is, just to recap, we're looking at a normal looking kind of PowerPoint. We're in PowerPoint right now. It's just this Oria plugin is on the right-hand side. And I guess you click the Oria button and that pops up. And I was able to download it myself and install it on my own PowerPoint. So to test it out, and it was pretty straightforward, that whole process. And what we have is in the main screen of the PowerPoint, there's just the text description, basically instructions to Oria to create a slide with a beautiful detailed visual in the middle, and it describes what that video ought to look like. And then it includes different steps to visual in the middle should be pointing to. And Andrew has already, run it for us ahead of time to save time here on the show, and we have several different versions of the output to choose from with that complicated 3D visual in the middle. And here we're looking at, it looks like the slide was done for the one that we started at the beginning, kind of a framework for running an AI pilot in 6 steps. It came up with icons for us. It actually decided what the steps ought to be. It put text in there. It's all editable. So just to kind of give that overview.
Yeah. And done within your template, within your corporate fonts, within your colors, so you don't need to then manually adjust it.
Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. Now, in terms of putting in that text to slide, in some cases you might want to tell it, you don't want it to make up the words for you. You want to specifically say what should be in each of the text boxes. I imagine that
Yeah.
that's possible, that you could say, hey, make something with 6 steps, and here's the title of each step, and here's the specific language I'd like you to use, and then it would follow that instructions.
Correct. So as long as you specify something, for example, you put text in the quotes, then the text will be fully followed. If you don't specify though, then the model will come up with the best solution up to your knowledge. Yeah. Here the example that you see, and just now another version of the slide was inserted, and I'll probably relaunch this just to show how it works live, so you can see how agents live, just like in your PowerPoint, are adding it element by element. Here I didn't have anything specific, so the model came up with everything. But in the version with the roadmap, actually, if I come back here, I have quite a few texts put directly into quotes, and in case you put a text in quotes, it will be fully preserved one-to-one.
Okay.
So,
And in terms of telling the tool what you want the slide to look like, it sounds like you can be fairly open-ended, leaving it up to the tool, and it will come up with its best attempt. What if you want to be more directive? Can you kind of describe in some detail like what slide design you want it to use, and how many text boxes, and what sort of illustrations or whatever?
absolutely, yeah. And actually, I think it's a great moment to switch to the next function where I can exactly show this to you. So imagine you have just like a rough outline of the slide, and now you want to make this look beautiful. If you just launch it directly without any instructions, as I'll do now, it will basically format everything, align elements, will do something what the VG function of McKinsey usually does. However, if you have a particular idea in mind, you can also explain it to the tool. Be it, for example, add a visual of people working on slides in an office on the left-hand side. At the bottom, add a summary field, but keep it empty, and remove point 7. So here, what I'm doing, just to voice this over, I'm giving a voice instruction to Oria, what exactly I want to do with the slide. And then I'll also click improve design. And not only Oria will redesign the slide as a PowerPoint designer, but we'll also implement this and we'll add the visual that I requested. While it's working on that, let me come back to the previous slide where I just launched the improved design without any specific instructions. And as you can see, hopefully this will be a screenshot on the page, basically aligned everything nicely. And the output that you see here, they do not look like AI made them in a sense. They look like what you'd expect to see from a professional PowerPoint designer, basically.
Yeah, it looks like a normal PowerPoint that you would see at a top consulting firm. And we had a real kind of hashed together slide originally that with text boxes that were not aligned and different size fonts. And it was the rough content was there. It just wasn't all aligned and properly formatted and so forth. And now Oria took that and made it nicely formatted. Everything is aligned to the grid. We have some nice, it gave us two options and there's 7 steps. So in one case, it gave us just the numbers 1 through 7. Another case, it gave us some icons representing each step. So it's much cleaned up and something that would take you probably 15 minutes or so if you're doing it by hand and just be annoying work. It just did it in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think it's a good moment to switch to the next slide where I gave the instruction. So it preserved the content, but added the visual, added the summary field, kept it empty as I requested. So if you have if you have a vision of how the slide should look like, you can just explain it to Oria. You can just do it as though you're explaining it to a designer. There is no need to be a sophisticated prompt engineer. Just explain it the way you'd explain it to a human, and Oria will basically implement that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you had even longer content? Like you had, 2,000 words of content with some kind of company overview. Could you do something like, hey, take this company overview, extract the main points of it, and produce a nice company overview slide? Could it do something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have an example for that. So here, for example, it's not 2000 words, but still a lot of context. So here I have a flow of my thoughts, basically a recording of my voice about the plans to develop a product. And then at the top, I'm asking to create a granular roadmap from that.
Hmm.
So I can click text to slide, and then Oria will find a way to synthesize that. Having said that, people are usually using Oria on top of LLMs like Claude or OpenAI. So this ideation process and synthesis process they do within their usual environment like Claude, and then Claude gives them the description of the slide, and that description is then passed to Oria. In the meantime, let me probably show you a few more examples of how the slide is inserted, because we got the pop-ups at the bottom that the slide is ready. So I think this roadmap slide that we started with should be ready. So you can see how Oria adds it element by element. Also supporting non-standard elements like chevrons, for example. Here we go. It's fully editable. I can polish it. I can make any final changes. I'll hit cancel here because I interrupted the insertion. And I think this example with the 3D platform should be also a good one. This is something that you can send to like a professional designer, and probably in 2 or 3 days, the designer will give you something like that. It will be probably a little bit more editable than what you have here, but still here we just got it in a couple of minutes in the background. And coming back to the option that I launched just a minute ago with a long context, you can see how Oria came up with multiple ways to show the roadmap. And it's nice that each way is different. So you have the variety to choose from, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So we have you just gave a verbal description on the left of the whole process, and on the right we have 3 very nice process slides, different ways of showing this strategic roadmap that it came up with.
Let me just show you probably a couple of more use cases which our users find really helpful. Very often you have a screenshot of like from another PDF or something from another website, and then you need to transfer this screenshot to PowerPoint, which is very painful. With Oria, you can automate this. For example, here I have an org structure of Walt Disney, which I just found on the web. And it would take me probably like 45 minutes to manually retype it.
Yeah.
With Oria, you can again just send it to improve design, and it will redesign that in your corporate style and will add it as fully editable elements. So let me click apply design here. And also, what we see is that a lot of AI tools for PowerPoints, they are good with texts, but when it comes to charts, the functionality is very limited. For example, let's name Gamma that does not generate charts, it generates basically images of charts that you cannot properly export. So we really double down on the chart generation. And let me actually launch it. I think I haven't done that before, but I'll just imagine you have a table with data which you just paste from another Excel, and now you need to convert this table to a set of bar charts. We can just put the table in PowerPoint and just tell Oria something like, convert the table into 4 vertical bar charts stacked one under another. And then it will do the data visualization step for you, basically. And then while we're waiting, the last but not the least is the button called Sketch to Slide. I think everyone who has been to consulting knows this case when there is a senior manager, partner, AP who has put something on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, and now you need to create a beautiful slide from that. And you'll need to zoom in, understand the handwriting, etc. So we have a separate button for that. It's called Sketch to Slide. You just give it a screenshot of anything handwritten, and then it will be decomposed into an editable slide. I've launched it here, but I think I previously launched it on slide 90, and here you can see an example of how it reads all the content and finds a way to organize it as a slide.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So we have this handwritten slide, and then it converted it into a very nice produced PowerPoint. Big time saver.
So this is it. And probably the final feature which we built specifically for consultants is, assuming you have multiple clients and you need to switch quickly between different templates, right? Inside the plugin, what you can basically do is, let me open an empty slide. You can have multiple styles uploaded. Here I have about 30 probably, what I'm showing right now. And then you can very quickly switch between the styles as you switch between clients. And each style, let's say here we have something that looks and feels like McKinsey. You specify the exact color scheme, you specify the exact margins, you specify exactly how you want the slides to look and feel, and then this will be strictly followed across all generations. While we were showing that, I'm just coming back to the slide with the bar charts, and you can see how Oria found a way to visualize that, and I can put that onto insertion mode, and it will be added as a proper chart object, but not image or separate.
So this would be an editable chart. You could right click on it,
yes,
and then edit data and update the data. It's not just a
exactly.
bunch of boxes. Okay, that's great.
Exactly.
Behind the scenes here, are there like a set of predefined PowerPoint like template type of slides that it draws from as its kind of, it knows what a sort of a bar chart slide should look like, or a column chart slide, or a slide with two boxes and a call out or a waterfall. Is there kind of a set of templates behind the scenes here?
That's a great question. And when we started developing Oria, we started exactly with this approach, trying to structure all the possible types of slides, types of objects, and then kind of come up with the best fit template. Very quickly, we understood that the slides that are built in the corporate world, especially in consulting, are so diverse and so sophisticated that it is impossible to properly describe them with a set of templates. Even if you upload 10,000 templates, that will not be sufficient. So we decided to fully change the technology. And the way we basically work is that we first visually render the slide. And what you see on the right-hand side is basically an image. And that gives us the freedom to work with any type of slide, any type of layout, any type of sophistication. And then that image is decomposed into editable PowerPoint objects.
Interesting. Okay. So it's not really working from a predefined set of templates. It's imagining it from scratch, fresh each time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Great. So what's the for users who are interested to check it out, what's the sign up process, and what's the different pricing options?
Yeah, so the installation is very quick. You can just go to Oria.one or directly to Microsoft Marketplace and type in Oria. It's a plugin for PowerPoint. The installation takes 1 minute directly from Microsoft. Then once you install, you'll have a the free balance of tokens you can play with, so you can really assess if it's helpful for your scenarios. And if you find it helpful, you can directly within the plugin subscribe. And this is the usual $20 subscription, which will be enough for 3-4 presentations per month. Yeah.
Okay. So $20 per month subscription would be roughly how many slides would that be?
It will be 20 to 30 slides, depending on how complex they are.
Okay. And then what if you wanted to, what if you expect to need more than that? Are there some other options?
Yeah, let me quickly show this to you. So directly within the plugin, you can open the option menu. So this is the $20 subscription. If you're a really heavy user and you build slides every day, then there is
Mhm.
also a $60 per month subscription. If this is not enough, you can always just buy one-off token plans on top of the monthly balance.
And it's roughly then about 4 tokens per page typically,
It's 4 tokens per page. Yeah,
3 to 4 tokens per page. Okay.
yeah,
So you can continue to add on additional tokens as needed.
yeah.
All right, cool. Fantastic. So Oria.one, that's ONE, and or go to the Microsoft store and you can search for Oria. Andrew, thanks so much for joining today.
Thanks a lot, Will. I appreciate the questions, and I hope it will be helpful for other consultants as well.
All right. And then folks, look in the show notes. You can go to the Umbrex website. We'll have some screenshots. We'll have video. We'll also have a link to Oria.one.
Thank you.